What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and this is episode 14 of building a $20 sneaker collection. Thanks so much for tuning into this series. As always, if this is your first time watching building a $20 sneaker collection, I definitely recommend starting from the beginning of the series by clicking the link at the top of the screen or in the description below. But just to fill you guys in on how this series works, 14 episodes ago we started out with just a $20 bill. And we took that $20 bill, went to some thrift stores and whatever places we could find cheap sneakers, bought as many pairs as we could, cleaned them up and resold them. And I guess the end goal of the series, if this series does have an end goal, is to have an entire sneaker collection filled with grails and retros and sneakers that people just love, as well as a pair of Nike mags, which currently resell for around $15,000 to $16,000 in my size. And in last week's episode, we bought a ton of different pairs of sneakers. In fact, we depleted our sneaker collection fund down to just $234.93, which I think is the lowest it's been in a very long time. Usually we're hovering around the $400 range, but $200 isn't scary, but it's getting close to being scary. But the good news is, in this week's episode, we sell a bunch of sneakers. We even trade for a pair of sneakers, which I didn't even expect to do, and we also buy even more sneakers. So before we dive into this week's sneaker thrifting, let's take a look at some of the sneakers that sold over the weekend. So the first pair that sold was that pair of Pumas, thank God, because we had been sitting on that shoe for like 4 weeks. I don't know if you guys remember, but I actually saw this shoe in Plato's Closet a couple weeks ago, and then you guys let me know in the comment section that it was a shoe worth picking up, so I went back to Plato's Closet the next week. Luckily enough, it was still sitting there, and we grabbed it for $40, which, to be fair, is a lot of money to spend on a pair of sneakers at a thrift store or a thrift style store, but at the end of the day, it was a brand new pair of sneakers and it was a Puma collaboration, so it definitely had some value. And the biggest problem that I had with this sneaker was that it sold like 3 or 4 times over the last week or two, and people just never paid for it, which is so annoying. I guess it's just something that you deal with when you accept offers from people, because I think a lot of people just put out offers as like shots in the dark, not expecting it to get accepted, and then when you accept it, they have to pay for it and they realize, I don't want to buy this. So that's definitely a risk that you take when you accept offers on sneakers, or I'm assuming products in general, on eBay. The good news was though that this sneaker actually ended up by selling through the buy it now price that I had, which was $97. And the even better news was, because this shoe sold for around $100, it was part of eBay's authenticity guarantee, which means that you ship the shoes directly to eBay, they legit check it and then send it off to the buyer, and they also don't charge you any selling fees, which is crazy. So because the buyer paid shipping, and if you buy shipping through eBay, they actually discount the shipping price, we ended up making an extra like $1.50 over what the selling price was. So we were able to add $98.55 into the sneaker collection fund. Immediately after that, we actually sold a pair of Tinker Air Jordan 10s, which I did not expect to sell that fast, and we ended up selling them for $90. So I bought these shoes during Plato's Closet's Labor Day sale, so they actually gave me a 15% discount, so the shoes ended up only costing me $51. And I think originally I had them listed on eBay for like $100 or $110, and I ended up taking an offer for them, which again is kind of risky, but at the end of the day, they were in such good condition, I know they'd sell eventually. And the offer that I took for them was $90, which I felt like was a pretty fair offer, and surprisingly, even though I sold these shoes for $90, which is $10 less than the $100, which I think is required to get the authenticity guarantee, the shoes still got the authenticity guarantee and I wasn't charged any fees, which was awesome. So again, the buyer paid for shipping, I ended up buying shipping through eBay, so I got a discount, and I ended up making $94.64. So pretty much that right there brought us back to a sneaker collection fund that I felt comfortable with, and because of that, I felt like I was willing to spend some money. And to take things in kind of a different direction for a second, I have listed a bunch of sneakers from my own personal collection on my eBay account, so if you guys would like to check that out and grab pairs that I've actually worn, which is kind of weird, so I don't know if you want them, you can grab them. And if you guys are interested, I'm considering making a video on why I'm downsizing my collection, and also like my debt-free journey, my financial journey, and I guess saving up for like rental properties and things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comment section down below. It's a completely different style of video and topic than I've ever done on this channel, so I totally understand if you guys don't care, but it's something that I'm really getting into right now. But to get back to the video, I don't know if you guys remember from last week, but I mentioned not only am I selling sneakers from the $20 sneaker collection on my eBay page, I'm also starting to list things on my Tradeblock account. So what I ended up listing last week were the New Balance 550 ALDs, which I don't know if I'm going to trade or sell because I love those sneakers and I think they're going to be like the first sneaker to be a permanent part of the sneaker collection. And I also listed the Ben Simmons Nike Blazers. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't expect any interest on the Ben Simmons Nike Blazers. They're not like that popular of a sneaker. I think I paid $40 for them, which is probably more than I probably should have paid for them, but they were in great condition and I love the shoe. But surprisingly, I actually got an offer for them, and it was a pretty decent offer. So the initial offer was for a pair of Air Jordan 4 Neon 95s in a size 9, worn. I couldn't really tell the condition from the pictures, so that was the one thing that kind of had me question the whole thing. but it was for my Blazers and $25. And I thought to myself, those Neon 95s brand new can sell for like $250 and in good condition can sell for like $180, $190. My Blazers, I bought them for $40 or $50, I don't remember exactly what it was, plus the $25, so that's $75, plus the Tradeblock fees, which we'll get into later. And I was like, that's not a bad deal. But when I looked at the Tradeblock fees, it looked like I would have to pay about $40 because it'd be the fees plus the $25. So I did something a little stupid and a little risky and countered the offer with my Blazers and $20 instead of my Blazers and $25. Now it seems like such a small amount of money, and it totally is, and it's definitely an ego thing, but I wanted the amount of money that I paid, including the Tradeblock fees, to be less than $40. And by paying $20, or what we ended up agreeing on, $20.99, the total amount that I would have to pay for the transaction, which was the $20.99 plus the Tradeblock fee, was less than $40. So at this point, I've sent off my sneakers to Tradeblock. I have not yet received the Neons yet because I don't think they've actually made it to Tradeblock yet. So I'm interested to see how these sneakers end up actually looking. Like you guys saw, the pictures were a little bit rough, and I have no idea what they're going to end up looking like or smelling like. So stay tuned. That's going to be in next week's episode. But if it ends up working out, we made a pretty good deal. But that's pretty much all the selling and trading that took place over the weekend. And after all was said and done, starting off the week, we had $389.59 to spend in the sneaker collection fund. And actually, also on kind of a side note, if you guys are interested in tech at all, I actually have a tech channel where I'm going to be unboxing these Ray-Ban Facebook Wayfarers. They've got like little cameras on them. They're a little bit creepy, but the reason I'm telling you guys about these and this unboxing is because I might actually start using these for my thrift store pickups because I feel like it's a cool, like, hands-free way of filming things. So let me know in the comment section if you guys would be interested to see sort of my take on these. Make sure to check out my tech channel, which will be linked in the description below. And honestly, next week we might actually have some footage from these guys, which is kind of cool. A little creepy, but kind of cool. But with all of that out of the way, let's dive right into this week's pickups. So this week I decided to change things up a little bit, and the first stop of the week was not actually a Plato's Closet. Instead, it was Atmos in Center City. And for a sneaker boutique that sells only new sneakers, they have a really excellent selection, and there's a lot of stuff in stock. As you guys saw earlier, we had some Yeezys, now we're looking at Jordans. Unfortunately, any of the shoes that they have on shelves are not shoes that resell, which of course makes sense because the resellers come in on release day, buy the sneakers that resell, and leave the rest. Which means that you can find a lot of sneakers for your own personal collection, but nothing really to add to the $20 sneaker collection or anything that I could really use as trade bait or flip sneakers. So unfortunately, nothing really that I was able to pick up, but there was a lot of cool stuff in stock. Just down the street from Atmos is one of my new favorite spots, and that's Buffalo Exchange in Center City, Philadelphia. And I've got to say, this store is very similar to Plato's Closet, at least the one that I usually go to. However, it's like double the size, and they have way more sneakers. Not only that, because they're in the center of a city, the area is a lot more densely populated and there's a lot more options available. For example, we have this pair of Nike basketball sneakers, which were in pretty decent condition, and honestly, if I had seen those at the Plato's Closet where I usually go, I might have even grabbed them, but it's just not something that I felt like was worth it when there were so many better sneakers around me. A shoe that really caught my eye though was this pair of Volt Green or Neon Green Adidas Climacool Ventos. This is a shoe that I've always been interested in because of that boost midsole that's kind of segmented, but it's never a shoe that really seemed to take off with the public. It's just kind of one of the shoes that just sits on Adidas shelves, which in my opinion is unfortunate because I think it's a nice looking sneaker. Even though there wasn't any pairs of standard Air Jordan Retros available, there was this pair of Dub Zeros, which is kind of a mashup of like 4 different sneakers. You can see the 4s, the Concords, the 6s in there. There's a lot of different sneakers mashed into this shoe, and it was in a good size, a size 9. Now this was a shoe that I was considering, but after checking the prices on eBay, unfortunately it was selling for exactly what it was listed for in store. Just above that, there was a pair of Air Jordan 6 rings, which is sort of a mashup of the Air Jordan 13s with the 11s and a pair of 6s in this interesting sort of Space Jam colorway. Not a bad looking sneaker, but I just really don't see much value there. I did find this pair of ISPA Reacts, which actually looked really nice, but what was weird about this shoe was that the midsole really seemed to be very glossy, more so than usual, and I realized when I turned the shoe over that someone had actually painted the midsole of the sneaker, which actually kind of makes sense. You cover up a lot of the dirt problems that you have and maybe the scuff problems that you have by painting it, but React is a very soft cushion, and when you paint a very soft cushion, it's going to crack and crease very quickly. I did find this pair of Adidas Ultra Boost Climacools, which is a pair of Ultra Boosts which I've never owned. Now it looks like it does have a new set of laces. It seems like they switched out the old laces for this pair of like bright green laces, which is fine, I guess. Next you have this pair of Air Max 90s, which came in gray and black. Nice looking sneaker, good size, but the colorway wasn't anything that exciting, and I just don't see a lot of resale value here, so leaving that one for now. And as you can see, after some quick thought, I did decide to grab the Adidas Ultra Boost Climacools. So I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to one of my viewers, Matthew, who also works at Buffalo Exchange. He's an awesome guy. We had a great time chatting, and also he showed me some of the really great sneakers that they had in stock that were sort of hidden behind other sneakers, because obviously he works there and he knows sort of what's in stock. So he showed me that pair of Air Max 1s. He also showed me this pair of Air Forces, which were in pretty decent condition and priced pretty well. As you guys may have noticed, Air Forces are kind of reselling at the moment, which is pretty insane. Then I found this pair of Air Forces. It's a white, green, and blue pair. I've actually never seen this pair before, and it was in pretty decent condition. And what's interesting is when I checked comparable listings online, it was actually selling for like $120 to $150. Now, to be fair, those prices were for new pairs, but I still think a used pair is not a bad gamble, especially when it's priced so low. Matthew actually showed me this pair of Kith Clark's Wallabies, which is actually a Kith collaboration on a pair of Clark's, and it was in almost brand new condition. It had the metal hang tags, it was in pretty good shape, it was priced pretty well at $50, but unfortunately at that size, I just was a little afraid of it. There was also this pair of mids which he pulled out, which were in pretty decent condition, unfortunately a size 7, which is a little bit harder to sell. The only problem was that they were priced at $80, and that's exactly what they were going for on eBay, so really no room for profit here, but nice looking shoe nonetheless in pretty good condition. So I actually went back to look at the Wallabies again because it was a shoe that I was very interested in. It was a shoe that if it was in my size, I 100% would have grabbed, because I think these retail for like $250, maybe $300. They do have resale, but not a lot, and not in this colorway, unfortunately, even though I think this is a fire colorway. So although I love this shoe personally, it wasn't in my size, and it also wasn't a shoe that I was willing to take the risk on. So we ended up selling those Team Jordans, which we picked up last week for I think $30, which is a crazy price because they were brand new. I think we ended up selling them for $100, which is a lot more than I expected to get for them. And again, because they sold for $100, they were part of eBay's authenticity guarantee, which again meant that we had no fees. So after subtracting the discounted shipping, we ended up making an extra $1.05, and we ended up adding $101.05 to the sneaker collection fund. So at this point, we have $430.62 to spend. So of course, you know me, it can't be a $20 sneaker collection video without going to Plato's Closet, because that's been my favorite place to pick up sneakers so far. And the first pair I looked at was this pair of Jeremy Scotts that we looked at last week. I kind of wanted to see what price they were going for and what the condition was. Unfortunately, they were priced at $90, which is way more than I was willing to pay for them. And for what you could get on eBay, like $150 for a new pair, it just wasn't worth the risk. So after checking out the new shoes, or the shoes with boxes, I decided to go through the regular aisles, and the first pair that I found was this pair of Embiid 1s. It's Under Armour's first Embiid signature sneaker, and it's actually a pretty decent sneaker. I actually have a pair myself, which I did buy in one of the first episodes of the $20 sneaker collection. It's a pretty nice looking shoe. It was priced pretty well, but the size wasn't great, and I can tell you right now there is really no resale value with this shoe. Then in the women's section, I actually found this pair of Nike Presto Reacts, which I've had pretty good luck with in the past, but unfortunately this pair was a little bit smaller than I would have liked, and also a little bit dirtier than I would have liked, so not really trying to deal with that. I don't know how I missed this when I was looking at the Embiids, but I found this pair of Adidas ZX Fluxes, which is a pair that I actually owned back in 2015. It's a throwback sneaker for sure. This is one of the first sort of reflective pairs, or like color changing pairs, that became really popular. Nice looking pair of shoes, but really no resale value anymore. The next shoe that caught my eye was this pair of Nike Pegasus 36, which almost looked brand new. I mean, it looked like it had barely been worn, if at all. Now, unfortunately, we're on the Pegasus 38, and runners are kind of moving on to the newer sneakers, and because of that, there's not really a huge amount of resale value here, but still a nice find, and if I was a runner looking for a new pair of shoes, I probably would have grabbed it. The last pair of shoes that I found that was kind of interesting in store was this pair of Jordans. Now, I believe this is a player's signature model. I just don't know which player, maybe Chris Paul, not 100% sure. Let me know in the comment section down below. But a nice looking pair of shoes, but just not in great condition, and I just don't think there's any resale value there. So a lot of you guys have been requesting for me to stop by yard sales, which I did some of in the beginning of the series, but I didn't really have much luck. I just happened to be driving past one on Saturday, and I figured, you know what, looks like they've got a bin of sneakers, might as well take a look. And the first shoe that I found was this pair of Vans, which was in a kid's size, but it was in really great condition. Unfortunately, nothing else really caught my eye, but I figured if I can get this pair of Vans for a good price, I'll definitely pick it up. How much do you guys have in the Vans?
3.
3? Okay, perfect. I'll take it. Okay, so I was grocery shopping, and I happened to drive past a yard sale, and you guys know me, I'm in love with yard sales for some reason, so I had to stop by. I didn't really feel right like filming the whole yard sale because it's someone's house, but I did sort of film generally the bin that I was looking at and sort of the transaction of me grabbing these shoes. But I did find a pair of Old Schools for $3, which was not bad because I think I could sell these for like maybe 15, maybe 20, because they're in great condition. Vans don't move that well, I found, but for $3, can't really go wrong for a pair of shoes in this condition. So A nice sort of surprise yard sale pickup. So the last stop of the week was Plato's Closet, of course, and it looked like they had actually moved the store around since the last time I was there. In fact, they had really moved things around a lot, and the reason I'm assuming that they did that is because they were having some sort of like fall or winter boot sale. So they had a lot of pairs of Timberlands on sale. In fact, you guys can see right here, there's probably 20 or 30 pairs of Timberlands just up at the front of the store. And what was crazy about these pairs of Tims was that they were all priced really well. You had some pairs going for 25, some pairs going for 40, but none were more than 40, and I was kind of blown away by that because a lot of them looked almost brand new. Now, I'm not good at legit checking Tims, so I don't know if these were legit Tims. I would assume, that's funny. That's not on purpose. I mean, they're all good looking shoes. I would assume that they are real, and for that price, I was willing to take the risk. I was just looking for a pair in my size so I could add it to the collection because honestly, I need a new pair of Tims. I need a new pair of Butters. But before I really dug into the Tims, I decided to go through the high-end sneaker bin that they have at the back of the store, which recently hasn't been there that much. It's only been there like maybe every third visit that I go, and unfortunately there wasn't a huge amount available. There was a couple pairs of Nikes which were alright. They had this pair of Adidas Continental 80s in a pink color, which if you guys have watched the series for a while, you know that I find everywhere. I don't know why Continental 80s are so, I guess, unpopular, but I find them everywhere, but you see them everywhere. There was that pair of Vans, which I had actually seen at Ross a couple weeks back. I wonder if someone bought them and then dropped them off at Plato's because they decided they didn't want them. A lot of pairs of designer shoes, some pairs of Pumas, but unfortunately nothing really that seemed to have any value other than what they were selling for in stores. So this time around, no luck in the bins. Now, because they were having that boot sale, it seemed like they had moved a lot of the new sneakers to the shelves, and I was hoping that these Kung Fu Kennys would be a little bit cheaper than what they were going for originally, but for some reason it seemed like they had raised the price to $100, which is kind of unfortunate because they were worn. Next, I found this pair of women's New Balances, which I thought were 990s, and I definitely would have picked up if they were, but unfortunately not a number that I'm really familiar with, and not a pair that I think has any resale value, even though it's a nice looking pair of shoes and it was priced relatively well. So after digging through the Tims section for a while, I did happen to find a pair in my size, or at least a half size down, because they do fit a little bit big, and I decided to grab it because it was priced at $25 and had the hang tag and looked almost brand new. There was a tiny bit of creasing and there was like a little dot or stain or something on the toe, but for 25 bucks for a basically brand new pair of Tims, I had to take it. So this is a pair that is probably going to end up in the collection and not for sale, which is kind of crazy. And then to round off the week, we had one last sale, and that was the John Elliott LeBrons that we picked up like 3 or 4 weeks ago from Plato's for just 20 bucks. So these actually ended up selling for $80, which I was pretty impressed by. I didn't think they would sell for that much, but I was really happy with the result. And unfortunately, because these sneakers were not eligible for the Authenticity Guarantee program, we did get fees, but after fees and shipping, we still ended up making a couple bucks because I think the shipping was just super overpriced for some reason. Now, you guys might not realize this, but I don't actually set the shipping price. eBay sets the shipping price when it comes to sneakers, so I'm not the one overpricing things, eBay is. But tangent aside, after shipping and fees, we ended up making $84.64 to add to the sneaker collection fund. So we actually end off this week in a pretty good spot. We have a lot of new sneakers to sell, as well as $487.27 in the sneaker collection fund. And actually, let me give you guys a quick roundup of the pickups from this week and also some of the sneakers that we still have in the sneaker collection. First pickup that we had was this pair of Climacool Ultra Boosts with these, I think, replaced laces. I'm not 100% sure. I actually should check that. As you guys can tell from the tag right there, this pair we bought for $35, and I'm not exactly sure what I can sell these for, but I do know that they need a little bit of a cleaning. Not too much because the boost is actually in really good condition on the side, but maybe a little bit of Rejuvenator, nothing crazy. Not a bad pickup, and I'm hoping to maybe double my money. I don't know if that's crazy, but we'll see. Next up, we have these Air Force Ones. I'm not 100% sure what the name of this pair is in particular, but it is in a pretty large size. I think it's a size 11 or 10.5. Apparently the sizing on this tag is wrong, so I'm not sure exactly. It is 10.5, so okay, the sizing is right. But we got these for 25 bucks, which I felt was a steal, especially since these were reselling on eBay. At least the new pairs were going for like 160. But definitely not a bad pickup, and hopefully we can sell them for maybe more than double of what we bought them for, which I think is not too crazy. Next up, we've got the Vans Skate Highs in this original blue colorway. Now this shoe I think comes in a youth size. I think it's a size 5.5 men's, so maybe a small men's size. But we got these for $3 at the yard sale, which I think is a great price. I wouldn't have bought these if these were 10 or more, because as you guys might have seen in this series earlier, Vans just don't sell that well because they're so cheap already. People don't want to pay resale for a used pair. So this is something that I'm hoping to get like 20 bucks for, which is actually like quadrupling my money. which isn't bad. I wish it was on a larger scale, but it is what it is. And then the last pair that we picked up was this pair of Tims, which is going straight into the collection because I really need a pair of Tims. And I wasn't gonna wear any of the sneakers in the sneaker collection because I wanted to be able to sell them if need be. But when wintertime comes, I'm definitely just gonna rock these. 25 bucks for these in immaculate condition, like barely worn, if worn at all. Really, really happy with these. And I don't know what resale is like on Tims. Like the last pair of Tims I bought was just retail. But if these go for a lot, I'm gonna go right back to Plato's next week and grab even more pairs. As far as sneakers that are still in the collection but are listed for sale and have not sold, we've got the Air Jordan 11 closing ceremonies in a youth or a woman's size. Now, I think I might have had these listed a little bit too high. I think I had these listed at like 79, which is a lot for a pair of sneakers that has some yellowing on the sides of it. So I dropped the price on eBay. Hopefully they move now that the price is lower. I'm willing to accept offers on these. I know it's risky, but this is a pair that I'm willing to take the risk on. Nice looking pair of shoes, but it's ending up being harder to sell than I expected. Speaking of shoes that haven't moved yet, we've got the Kobe 9 Elites in the Lakers colorway. I love this shoe. I wish it was in my size and not a kid's size because I would definitely add it to the collection. We got this for $20 last week. And I'm honestly willing to sit on it. Now, I did drop the price on eBay because I think I had it listed for like 77, and the comparable listings on this shoe, the two that have sold for like 40. So I dropped it down to like 69, I think, or around 60. But I'm willing to sit on it. If people want to offer, I'm open to it, but I'm not going to be like too quick to sell it. But it's an awesome pair of sneakers, and I still can't believe I found it for 20 bucks. That's crazy. And then the final shoe in the sneaker collection, which is the first shoe to actually stay in the collection and will stay in the collection, are these New Balance 550 ALDs. Brand new. Got them for $300 at ThriftCon. They go for about $360 to $400 on StockX, so really happy with this pickup. I actually have a pair in my own personal collection, which I wear all the time. Definitely a good pickup, and that's the reason that the sneaker collection fund is a little bit lower, because we have a crazy expensive pair of sneakers and a bunch of sneakers in the collection. Otherwise, we'd probably be up around $1,100, $1,200 bucks. So it is what it is. But really excited about everything. We've also got that pair coming in from Tradeblock, so if you guys want to stay tuned for that, make sure to subscribe so you can see that next week, but really excited about it. Also, before I forget, I've got a lot of sneakers from my own personal collection that I'm going to have listed up for sale, so if you guys want to grab any of those, they will be linked in the description below. But with that, we pretty much wrap up the entire episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know your thoughts on this episode and how we can improve moving forward, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.